kind of traumatized. Hello, welcome back to this new video. Today we will be using felt to make something out of it. This little DIY is inspired by an animation, a Japanese animation that I've watched a couple months ago. And plus I also got this idea from a post on Rednote, which is like a Chinese social media platform that is really popular. And I thought it would be really cute to make something different, and felt is something that I never used, I think. Even if I did, I think the last time that I used it was probably in elementary school, so a long time ago. This is the animation and the character that I will be making. I will put him here on the screen. His name is Kage, and he's basically the main character alongside another main character. It's a story that talks about friendship and personal growth. I think when it came out like 1 or 2 years ago, it was really popular, but for some reason the ending is not really good. But I think it's worth watching if you're really bored or just want to watch something new, because I personally really like the art style of the animation of this anime. It's really unique in my opinion. But yeah, of course the story is like I would say like a 6, a 7, so it's not really good, especially the ending. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Hello, this is VoiceOver Lulu. Here I'm showing you all the materials that I will be using for this little project. There's felt, paper, some threads, some needles, and then also scissors and pencil, and of course cotton that I didn't show here. This is the picture that I will be drawing out to make the shape for the felt. Luckily it was really easy to make. My drawing skills are not really good, so I'm glad that I chose a rather easy shape to draw out, even though it was hard to stitch anyways. So so here I'm drawing it out. Here I'm cutting out the shape. As I was saying, this is a character from a Japanese animation that I've watched a couple months ago. His name is Kage, and he's from the anime called King's Ranking, I think. In Japanese called Osama Ranking. I will also like put the name on the screen here if you're interested. I think it came out like 2 years ago, I think. But it was really popular when it first came out. But then when it ended, I think a lot of people just started to criticize it a lot, because the ending was really kind of bad. I would say really cheesy and cringe. But for me, I am someone who is like doesn't have a really high standards for anything. So as long as I enjoyed it, even in the process, I would say I don't mind. So I didn't really care about the ending. So returning back to the video, here I was using the paper to draw out the shape on the felt. The dark felt was really hard to draw, and I could barely see what I was drawing. As you can see, the pencil was really faint, but I think I managed to see something when I was cutting it, so that's good. My scissor was kind of dull, I think, but I think it's also the material, the felt material is also not really easy to cut. So because this pair of scissors, they have gone through a lot. I think I had them since I was in high school, and they are my favorite pair of scissors, and they cut really nicely actually, especially with paper or just plastic in general. But this material, I think it was not really sharp. it did the job, so I don't really care. And I don't plan to throw it away anytime soon. This is the first cutout. As you can see, the felt material had a lot of dust coming off, so this is something you have to be really careful with. Here is the second piece that I cut off of the same shape. I didn't show you because it was basically the same process. I am drawing out the shape of the eyes. This was way easier to cut out because one, I could see the shape, and second, it was just a round shape, so it was really easy and really fast to cut. And then here I was cutting out the pupil. I made two shapes just in case. I made a rounder one and a more flat one, I would say. So I tried both of them to see which one fit the best. I was planning to stitch the pupils, but I didn't really like the effect it gave, so that's why I chose to use tape instead. Here I am finally starting to stitch everything up. I started with the eyes first, and since the color was pretty clear, I would say, it was easy to stitch up and I could see where I was going. But yeah, it still took a while because I was making like really tiny stitches, so it could be less noticeable, I would say. But then I think in the middle I started to kind of get tired and I made like larger stitches. But yeah, I tried my best. At this point, it was fine, I think. It was really relaxing, and I really like how the shape came out, and I think even the back came out really clean. So here is where everything started to get a little bit harder. When I was stitching this black part, it was really hard to see where my needle was going. So especially at the beginning, I was just poking randomly. As long as they stitched up together, I didn't care. So yeah, this is the part where it took a really long time. I tried to turn on the light, but I think the yellow color didn't really help, so I just turned off later on. As I was stitching up, I was also putting inside the cotton to fill up the inside, and so it was all of this back and forth of stitching and filling up, stitching and filling up.
2,000 years later.
We finally reached his last arm. Since the space was really tight, it was kind of hard to pull the cotton inside, but after a few tries I finally managed. I stitched up his hands. Here also I just poked randomly. I tried to be as neat as possible, but I couldn't see what I was doing. So as long as I managed to put the two sides together, it was fine. And here is the last stitch, finally. Oh my god, what the hell? So we are finally done with this. It took way longer than I expected. I started at 11 a.m. and in the middle I took a break to have lunch, and then I also hopped to the supermarket very quick to get some cotton because I didn't have any. But now it's like almost 6, so I think it took me almost like 5-6 hours to make this, which is fine, but this wasn't what I was expecting. I thought that I was going to make a little fun weekend project, you know, that would take me maybe like 1 to 3 hours maximum, and especially I thought it would be less tiring. This is actually really tiring. My hands are kind of sore. My shoulder and my back are also screaming. The mistake is that I chose a really hard shape, especially here in the mouth. Here's the mouth, and then the two hands. These are really tight, okay? And since the color was also black, it was really hard to see my stitches. And so it was really hard to sew, and also putting the cotton inside these really tight spaces was really hard because I didn't have any like proper utensils. But I'm really satisfied with how it turned out. At least it came out good, you know. I think there was some mishaps because I had to do like it's like double face, right? It didn't really match the front and the back, so I had to cut out some while I was sewing. I'm glad that it turned out alright. Next time, I will definitely choose a different color because black, you can't see anything. Like, it's so hard to see where your needle is going. And I think I poked myself a couple of times. Nothing serious, but yeah. I'm kind of traumatized. But I think it was like fun because I think it has been a really long time since I invested so much time and energy onto something. I could have finished it in like tomorrow, but I am someone who, if I start something, then I have to finish it on the same day. Especially like these kind of projects, like you can manage to finish it like in one day. But yeah, I hope you had fun watching me struggle. I didn't talk much when I was making it because I think it would take even longer if I did. So that's why there is like a voiceover talking over. This was really challenging, even though it doesn't look like it. But yeah, that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will probably make a keychain out of it. I'm not sure. I need to think about what can I use for this. It would be nice to just display it somewhere. But so that's it for the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.